Hi everyone, how you doing today? Welcome to Terry TV. It's Friday and this weekend is St. Patty's Day. Yes, I'm going to be talking a little bit about the Disney cruise lines and how they're really stepping up. You may notice, and those of you who cruise have told me there have been cruises with Disney and some of the other cruise ships, but they've been a little bit broken. Not necessarily broken, but because of COVID, not able to go as many places as they'd like to go, do the things they'd like to do. They've been happening, but it's been a slow. Their momentum, let me say that. Forgive me chewing some breakfast. Their momentum has been slow. So I'm Terry Harden. Welcome to Terry TV. I don't usually munch on camera unless I'm in front of my patrons on Terry's Tribe. I'll tell you about that a little bit later if you want to join. See, you thought I was going to cut right over there. Nope, not yet. I'm known as Disney's legendary Imagineer. I am a Henson puppeteer. I worked on Ghostbusters, Men in Black, Country Bears. You name it, I've done it. Dinosaurs, the TV show, done a lot of commercials, Philadelphia cream cheese and Disposer Care, and the voice of San Diego for 3 years. Blah, 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 blah. Blah, 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 blah. Feel free to look me up, Terry Harden. Just Google me and then step back. An avalanche of crazy things I've done. Yes, my career is vast. So much so that I don't even believe it. So I welcome you today. Welcome to Terry TV. We're going to talk a little bit about these cruises. I really didn't know what to think about, but mainly, in fact, I led with the cruises, but I ended with Downtown Disney because, guys, I got to talk to you about this. I need your help, and I really need your help because I have been down to Downtown Disney the past couple of times, and I am just a big question mark. I don't know. I don't know what's happening to the place other than it feels like they want to get rid of all that which is affordable for people and put in things that aren't so affordable for people. Okay. Or if it's affordable for people, you're going to have to walk a bit from Disneyland, California Adventure to get to something affordable, i.e. Earl of Sandwich, you know? But think about that, guys. Post in the comments your explanations, your thought. Do you think Downtown Disney is getting better? Tell me about the Jazz Kitchen, because to me, it looks like a cafeteria nightmare. But if you disagree, please comments, let me know what you think of the evolution of Downtown Disney. And if you're loving it, help me to understand, guys. Get specific. Tell me where, if I have a family of 4, I could feed them because I always went to Tortilla Joe's. That's what it's called, right? And now it's being eliminated. And in its place, or maybe not exactly in its place, there's going to be a high-end restaurant that everybody likes to go to, but those that have a lot of money want to go to. Now, you may or may not know this, but Disneyland is expensive. You knew that, right? Yeah, you're laughing at me now, right? Welcome if you're just joining us, and if you're watching it and it's not live, I invite you to join me live. I'm on at 9:45. I pushed it at 9:45 because I can hit that on time, and I feel very bad when I'm 10 minutes late to you guys, which is offensive and not. It's not good. Okay, it is not respectful. So I pushed the broadcast back to 9:45 because I'm hitting that better. And I wanted to respect you as much as I do my tribe, which is on Patreon. Ooh, now I'll tell you about it. Here it is. Patreon.com/Terry Harden is where you want to go. There it is at the bottom of your screen. Woo! Yeah. For $5 a month, you can join my tribe. The tribe is amazing. It's like-minded people who sit and lift each other up with good sayings and stuff. Or if you're someone who's confused about your art, confused about your creativity, or you're just a plain weirdo, we want you there. It's a great place for gatherings. We talked a lot today about Imagineering and how Walt seemed to really cultivate these odd ducks to create this magic that you go to at the Disney parks, at Universal Park, at Knott's Berry Farm. Many of them were Imagineers, if they aren't still Imagineers for Disney, ex-Imagineers or former Imagineers, as many people. And the word former doesn't work for me, because a former Imagineer, what's Imagineer? Always an Imagineer. It's a very unique way of thinking. And we as creatives, creative Imagineers, we think differently. We pull things out of the air, okay? If it hasn't been made yet or hasn't been created yet, we're working on that, okay? That's what we do. And when we're together and we're pulling things out of midair and we're working our fingers like we do, magic happens. In my case, the Dragon's Lair was something that I fought for. That's right, Dragon's Lair Paris. And I am the designer and the creator of that. And it was originally supposed to be a stone dragon. So you're welcome. Anyway, it was a battle, but it was all like-minded people in Imagineering. And that's what my tribe is about. You may be, can I use the word struggle? You may be struggling and you may be saying to yourself, I want to make a living painting, drawing, doing what I love. Now, if you're someone like an accountant and you're magical with those numbers, it's a little easier, isn't it, for you to do what you love, because people will gravitate to you because you care. Not only do you care, you find it exciting. So yesterday was Pi Day, and so I thought of all the artists who numbers are their painting tools, their tools of creativity, because you guys were all great. I mean, I wanted to figure out how to do the pi symbol in my thumbnail that announces that I'm going to speak. And I couldn't find it on my keyboard, and my husband was asleep. He's the one that usually does that, because technology in me is like, ah. So I just wrote PIE. I did not do it here. I did it on my Patreon page. We talked about pie. We talked about pizza pie and blueberry pie and pie 314, which was yesterday, 314. You could get pie. You could get pizza pie for $3.14. Just a really fun, exciting day yesterday. We also lost a rocket, didn't we? SpaceX lost their rocket and their spaceship, I guess. They lost them both. They don't know where they are. I have a feeling they'll probably find them. Hopefully not on somebody's home. But they called the launch a success. I like that, turning what could have been, that's kind of a drag, to it's a success because it, looking at the good part, the half full theory is what it is. And I don't know. I kind of dug that. I just hope that the pieces that you can't find don't come back to Earth and fall on somebody's home. That would not be cool. But anyway, SpaceX did its bit. Lord love them. I love the space program and where it's going and all of the cool, wild things that I saw as a kid that seemed to be, taking off. And the Dragon spaceship, of course, they named it because Dragon is my thing, and I did the Dragon in Paris. So they named their program Dragon because of TERRI HARDIN. Of course they did. Don't pop my bubble, okay? Anyway, I love that Dragon ship. I love watching it. I love seeing people go to and from the space station. It's just so much like the things I read about as a child that were not around. So there's that. But the cruises, I wanted to tell you about these cruises. I don't know a lot about the Disney cruises, okay? I haven't been on a Disney cruise for a long time. And when I was a guest artist. I was someone who they brought in to tell you about some of my antics, my art, because, I mean, if you've heard me speak, it's like nobody else. And it's not because I'm necessarily so good. I am a very good storyteller, but I also always tell the truth. And I also, you never know what's going to come out of my mouth. And so that's probably why some Disney organizations don't have me in their corporate events. But maybe, I don't know. Anyway, no, I don't say anything mean or nasty. I won't say that. But I do have my opinions. I don't like, I'll give you one, okay? I love the Disney cruises. I think they're fantastic. But one of the things that they're missing the boat on, missing the boat. Anyway, I must be getting better. Anyway, one of the things they're missing is that I really think that I've always said, if you don't know what to do, ask people who do this. And many of my collectors are cruisers. They love Disney cruises. And if you've never been on a Disney cruise, but you've cruised other cruises, because of course Disney cruises are like Disneyland, expensive. But they're worth it. They're really great. If you are someone who has children and you want to be on a cruise that you kind of feel like you don't have your kids, now you don't have to admit this to me, okay? Go with me, okay? I am the first person to say that I am the best auntie to children, but you want to have a vacation, and sometimes that means your kids want to have free time away from you without you worrying, and you want to have some time without them without you worrying. So Disney has got this down, so down. Every ship, and I cannot speak for the Fantasy and the Wish, these giant ships, because I unfortunately have not been on the bigger ships, but I've been on the Magic, been on the Wonder, and then there's one other one that I've been on. And they all have a floor. In the case of the Magic and the Wonder, it's the 5th floor. The 5th floor is the kid floor, the floor designed for the little humans, the shorter humans. And it's amazing. The posters are at eye level for children. The ceiling is dropped for children. And they have several places only the little children can go. You cannot go, adults or teenagers. You are not allowed. It's a place where you can make flubber. It's a place where you can color in cells. You can learn to draw your favorite character like Stitch or Grogu, and you are exclusive, okay? Little children, VIP exclusive. The little kids go in there and they are managed by some expert cast members on the cruise, which is amazing. They're amazing. Now, how do I know this? Because I'm mentally 5 years old, okay? Just the way it is. I love being a 5-year-old. And I was on a special cruise where I was invited as an Imagineer to go in and see this area of this cruise, which was absolutely breathtaking and fun. First of all, I asked to stay on the 5th floor because I'm 5 years old. So I love staying on the 5th floor. And on the 5th floor is the movie theater. So I could wear my pajamas, my footy pajamas, and bring my teddy if I had one. Seriously, bring my teddy. Here's my Queen's Jubilee teddy. Yes, I'm a big fan of Queen Elizabeth. Anyway, I'm digressing. But you can take your teddy with you and your footy pajamas, and you can curl up with your popcorn with your legs crossed in the theater seat and watch a movie. And it's just amazing. It is so much fun. And it's always a fun movie for kids. Later in the day, it's a little more adult movie, but like, and I don't mean adult movie. I mean like bucket list, okay? Movies that kids wouldn't necessarily be interested in. But I tell you, it is just such a fun place to be. I love the posters being lower. Anyway, I went into this place and I learned how to make flubber. I didn't really enjoy that. I loved coloring cells and drawing and doing all the things like that. And the games that they have for kids, and all kid level. So my point is, there you go for the kids. Now, if you're a teenager, a lot of times I think teenagers get frustrated. And if you're a teenager, tell me I'm wrong, because there's things for adults and there's things for little kids on cruise ships, but there's not necessarily things for that middle group, that young group that is 14 to like 17. Well, Disney has saw this too. There's a special gathering for those kids. And again, only those ages are allowed. And you go in and you hang with your friends, and they have, stuff that is good for teens. So the point is this: the teens have so much fun, the little kids have so much fun, that I've heard parents say when they want to do a dinner with their children go, talk to the hand, I'm busy. True story. So that gives you a chance to go up to a restaurant like Paolo's, just the two of you, hold hands and have a romantic dinner, knowing your kids are taken care of and safe and having a great time on the ship. How far are they really going to go anyway? And it's amazing. It is absolutely amazing. It is the only ship that I've noticed that takes care of every family member. But if you think about it, this was Walt Disney. Okay, Walt Disney was at a merry-go-round in Griffith Park, saying, looking at the people, which is what I love to do, is I love to people watch. But he was looking at people and he realized there was no place for grandparents to do something fun, parents to have something fun, kids to have something fun, and teens to have something fun. He created Disneyland because he wanted that family element in Disneyland. You could sit on a bench or ride in the fire engine, or be in a horse-drawn carriage, or uh you know do that stuff on Main Street, sit and stare at the castle, have your pretzel, your popcorn, or whatever, go and play the penny arcade when it was there. Walt just thought this would be a great place for all ages, and it is, and it was. Now it's just cost a few bills, doesn't it? Whew, quite a few bills. So the cruises allow you to do this. And if I don't want to speak out of turn here, but when I was on my last cruise, which was before the pandemic, I'm afraid I haven't been on one since. But before the pandemic, I was on a cruise and I decided to stay on the ship in Cabo San Lucas. If you've been to Cabo on a Disney cruise, or any cruise ship for that matter, but the Disney cruise ship, you cannot dock. It doesn't have a proper dock. So you have to stay out in the water because it's too shallow in Cabo for the big cruise ships to come in close. So you have to take what's called a tender to go back and forth, a little boat that takes you back and forth. Usually not open. Sometimes it's mostly enclosed, but it takes you back and forth between the coast of Cabo and your ship. So I decided to stay on the vessel because I had met a couple that said, oh, it's so lovely when everybody goes off on their excursions. It's really lovely because it's quiet. You can go anywhere, and they still have food for you to have and drink. Someone's still tending bar and giving you can still jerk a soda. You can do whatever you want. And it's really, you have a coffee. It's quite extraordinary. Probably a lot of people who do this are going, shut up, Terry. Don't shh, shh, shh. But I know that many of you like to go on excursions, so I don't think I'm going to dissuade you. But if you want to go on an excursion and you have a little baby or you have a little toddler or something and you're nervous about your toddler or your baby coming along, Disney used to, before the pandemic, have
cup.
My cup isn't here. It's next to my bed.
Here.
I can have a sip of it, but why don't you just bring me mine?
No, take that.
Oh, okay. Isn't he wonderful? Yes, he's wonderful. The point is that they used to have people who took care of your children while you were on your excursion. I don't know if they do. If you've been on a cruise lately and you have kids and this is the case, I think I've told you about Patreon enough. $5 a month. Let me finish my son. $5 a month. You can be a part of it. I do a broadcast like this one every Monday and Friday, and then we do a Zoom call sometime, a live Zoom call sometime during the week. I used to say that it was Wednesday mornings, but I'm finding that my tribe has an eclectic. Now that we're getting into life, it was one thing when we were, on lockdown or we were coming out of lockdown. Wednesday mornings worked great all over the world. But now I'm finding that it's becoming more challenging for my tribe. So for those people, I try to mix it up a little. Monday night, Wednesday afternoon. I am finding that one of the better daytime days is Friday morning. What I'm going to need to have to do with the tribe, and should you join, $5 a month, you can weigh in on what is a good consistent time. Maybe we do a consistent evening and a consistent day. Right now, I think the consistent day that people seem to love is Friday. So, that's going to be hit and miss right now. But that would mean that this channel right now, I would start to drop some pre-recorded things for you to enjoy so that I would handle my Zoom call with my tribe in the morning. But that's not happening yet. It's just on the boards as a discussion, and that's what happens on patreon.com/Terri Hardin. So please check it out. You can check it out, and if you don't like it, it's, you stop. You just say, hey, it wasn't for me, and you move on. And I love you for trying it and seeing if you like it. It's a great group of people. It's a lot of fun. We have a private Facebook page, which is really cool, and we visit once a week. Every week on Zoom, and we have all kinds of other cool things that are going on, but I will tell you those later. So please Check it out. I appreciate it. $5 a month. There are higher portals as well. And I will start to populate those a little better. But for now, if you think that the content is worth more than $5, please go ahead and contribute that. That allows me to do this for free and allows me to explore things and to create things. And I'm working on some things that I'm going to do for you. I want to do some tutorials to teach you how I do things. And the reason I want to do this is because I would love to see another generation of practical builders. So I'll start to show you some of that stuff. So it's all going to happen on patreon.com/Terri Hardin first. Okay. So $5 a month. You can put a jar by your door, throw a quarter in it every day and have the money. So I try to make it as effortless as possible. Putting your skin in the game allows me to put my skin in the game. It shows me you're vested and that you're going to show up. Yeah. Okay, so there you go. All right. Wow. Did I prattle on? Yes, I did. Prattle, prattle, prattle. Yes, I did. But the cruise ships are really special and exciting. And for a while, they've been kind of limiting their cruises because of the pandemic and COVID, mostly COVID. Which pandemic, COVID, pandemic kind of means like it was more crazy global in my mind. So I may be getting this wrong. But COVID-19 was making, for example, I will come clean and tell you that my friends said don't go on a cruise ship until 2025. It's too dangerous with COVID still rampant. So these are the 2025s, and they're talking about going to Greece and going to Italy. Now, I know they've done some of these before, but now we're talking a cruise that lasts 12 days, and you would go to several of these things in Europe. It sounds so exciting. Now, like I said, it's not going to come without a hefty price tag. But if you can, get together with some of your friends, you might be able to rent the suite together and it won't be quite so painful. The other thing, and I cannot speak for the Magic or the Wonder, but I've heard that on the Fantasy and on these new ships that are being built, that if you have an inside room, they have a portal too. And the portal too has animated characters that come and see you, like ocean characters, like Sebastian and the Little Mermaid and Crush and Nemo and his papa. All of that. That to me sounds fabulous. I may not ever come out of the center section, but I wouldn't go in the center section back in the day, which was 2005. My first cruise that I did was 2005. And back in the day, those were just dark and creepy. They never got light. But Disney said, you know what? They are dark and creepy, and we're going to make them cooler. And they did. And apparently it's really cool. I haven't been, but a couple people showed me the portal, and they are exciting. They are really fun to talk with you. And they talk to you too. Is that right? So you got that going. But they've got a great lineup. There are ways for you to save money. You can get with the Disney Vacation Club. I won't go into that right now, but if it's something you want, post in the comments and we'll talk. The main thing I do here, okay, different from other channels, is I'm not the know-it-all, do-it-all person. I just try to spark conversation. So like the second part of this is, please tell me about Downtown Disney. If you live in Disney, if you're around Disneyland, tell me what's going on with this Downtown Disney, because I really thought it was going to be cool. And now I'm concerned. Last year, I went to celebrate Disneyland's birthday, which I always do. That is July 17th. I always get together. And we as a group, especially the tribe, we really know how to party. And many people on social media said Disney had dropped the ball, which they did, but we didn't. We were there. We knew it was the birthday. We were in a special area and we were just going crazy. And because I'm an Imagineer, Imagineers come to see me, animators come to visit. And so you get to meet a lot of who's for the price of a ticket to get in on the 17th. It's really a lot of fun. Really, I highly recommend it and look for it because we're coming back on this birthday. But on that day, I was with my good friend and tribe member, Stephanie Fix. And Stephanie lives very close to the park, and she is very knowledgeable about the park. How to navigate it, how to usurp it. It's kind of like you live in your city and there's a way to get to your house, but once you live there, you know all the shortcuts. That's Stephanie with Disneyland. And so I was with her. We got there for rope drop. me being 66, I don't jump up as spry. Mornings, I guess I am pretty spry. It's the evenings that I'm gonna like, yeah. But Stephanie was great. She was my escort and actually drove me up there. Bless her heart. We're gonna do this again on the 17th this year as well because we had so much fun. I actually stayed longer than I usually do. I'm usually there from roped up till about 3, and then I want to go home. I don't stay for the fireworks, but we create our own. And Terry's Tribe, which you just heard how you can join, we really work together on that day because it's a really special day. So plan now to go, if especially I tell the tribe, let's really rock this out. And we're sweet, we're wonderful. We had Disney ambassadors there. Our own good and wonderful ambassador to Walt Disney, Connie Lane, was present. We had Willie Ito, amazing, legendary Imagineer animator, and just a brilliant person all around, creating an amazing film that I can't wait to see called Hello Maggie. And then, Bob Gurr sometimes showed up. He didn't show up last time, but Bob Gurr is a mover and a shaker. Not that the others are not, okay? Just let me tell you, if Bob is in the area and in Southern California, he will be at the party because he loves this kind of energy, as do we. So he could be there. There's so many people that show up, and it's really, really fun. And then it's the tribe, which is great. You're going to get around them and just fall in love. You will. Oscar Martinez was there. And if some of you are going, who's Oscar? Well, you're going to have to come to the birthday and find out. And once you do, you will never forget him. Amazing chef, took care of a lot of the Disney foods and things like that. Maybe Carlos will come, who's still doing it. So note to Carlos, come out. Just come and see us and pop over. We're there usually from rope drop until about 5. I think that's what we did, Stephanie and I. So it's a great place to go. It's a great place to party. You don't have to stay all the hours. The way it works is I hang out there, okay? And then you go, you show up, you ride some rides, you collect your pins, you grab something yummy. Last year, they didn't have a lot of things to commemorate it because it's a middle birthday. See, I think every birthday is important. So I don't know why this is a problem. Anyway. It's a really cool thing. So please join us. Anyway, I was digressing. So on our way home, here we go. Here we're coming to the downtown Disneyland. Wait for it. I was actually going somewhere, guys. Terry TV is kind of like that. But okay. Stephanie says to me, let's grab a couple of sandwiches from the Earl of Sandwich. Now, I remember Earl of Sandwich being over by the Disneyland Hotel, which if you're lucky, you can take the monorail, get off at downtown Disney, and then go to the Earl of Sandwich. Your walk is shorter because it's closer to the Disneyland Hotel, which is a walk than it is currently. It has taken over Panera Bakery's place. I think it was Panera Bakery. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. And I don't mind you correcting me. Please do. But I think it was Panera Bakery. But now, currently, it's the Earl of Sandwich. And it was amazing. Okay, because the Earl of Sandwich is a very affordable place to eat, and their food is amazing. And what you do is you swing out of the park or California Adventure Park, you swoop over and order your food, and then you jump on the bus to Toy Story parking lot, which is where Stephanie likes to park, or you can ride the tram to your car and you have your meal. And it's kind of a flow. It's not kind of a flow, it's a flow. Okay, well, now I find out that they're going to put Portos there. If any of you have ever had a Portos in your town, we do. It's a nightmare. And I don't even think the food is that good. But if you disagree with me, that's okay. It's just that Portos is like a flippin' ant farm. And it's never not like an ant farm. It's like an ant farm. People, I avoid that corner because you can have an accident. People crossing when they aren't supposed to, people pulling out or trying to get that space in front of the place. The parking lot is way too small. Now, Disneyland won't have that problem, but it is at the gateway to getting into Disneyland. So if you got a lot of people crowding the place, what's going to happen? It's going to look like a flippin' rock concert. It's going to bleed into the park's common areas, and then it's going to become a roadblock. At least this is what I believe. Please, Portos, prove me wrong. Seriously, prove me wrong, because I really think what they should have done is left the Earl of Sandwich right there. Porto's is affordable also, so that's kind of cool, but not like Earl of Sandwich. The food is just better. Maybe if they're at Disneyland, they're going to step it up. But they had these great little meat pies that were so delicious, and now it's half the meat in there. You bite into the pie, 2 bites is nothing. Maybe they'll fix that for Disney, but I'm not holding my breath. And it could create a traffic jam, is what I'm saying. So I just think I really would have liked them to keep Earl of Sandwich where they are in the bakery section, with that Panera Bakery, or maybe it wasn't Panera Bakery, it's a different bakery. But anyway, that bakery spot right there for the Earl of Sandwich. And then if people have to have Porto's, they will walk that mile. Okay, or that half a mile, or whatever it is, quarter mile, whatever it is, to get over by the hotel to have the Porto's. Porto's works great for the hotel. Porto's works great for because if it's anything like where we are, or where there's another Porto's, I think there's another Porto's in Pasadena, people will crawl to get to this place to eat. So it doesn't need to be right next to Disneyland, causing a bottleneck. They can bottleneck farther down. It would also be a great place to bottleneck near the concert area. They have that little concert platform where they do all kinds of cool things next to the Star Wars thing. I just think it would be better over there. So I was confused why they didn't leave Sandwich where they leave it. I mean, it could be contractual, it could be whatever. But I mean, if it's working, see, as Imagineers, if you design something but a different layout works, you go with it. That's the Imagineer brain. We aren't so locked into the plan that we can't switch it around because it's going to be better flow, better for the guest. You see what I'm saying? Now, I cannot speak for a lot of the things that have happened recently, because some of the things that happened recently, I have no idea what people were thinking, or if the Imagineers, hands were tied. But usually back in the day, we would do it and we'd say, hey, this is going to be better here than here. And we would move it around, and it would just be better as a guest experience. So that confuses me. Also, Brennan's used to be one of my favorite, the Jazz Kitchen used to be one of my favorite places to go eat. I loved eating there. It felt like I was being teleported to someplace like New Orleans. And since I'm not a real fan of New Orleans, the city, I liked the Disney version. The Disney version just had the jazz I like, and the colors, and the dress. I mean, it was just so lovely. And now it looks like a cafeteria. It looks like Shaber's. Have you ever been to Shaber's? It looks like Shaber's. It might as well be a buffet. It's just so awful. They pulled up all the carpet. They pulled down all the curtains. Now it's as echoey as you wouldn't believe. There's more tables there. No piano. Remember that gorgeous sparkly piano? Gone. They do have some guys crammed in the corner against the wall playing their jazz, and the musicians seem to not mind it. But it's hard. It's hard to hear. Of course, as people set plates down, they echo because you have nothing to insulate the walls. There was a meeting room that we used to always party in, and it was awful. It was absolutely awful, because you couldn't hear anything. I couldn't hear anything, and then anybody who is hearing challenged was struggling just to keep their head from splitting. Or if you're someone who doesn't like sharp noises, your head still splits. So it's just, and it's the redesign. And apparently the owner of Brennan said this is what you wanted. I find that hard to believe. If you're one of those people who really wanted this, please post in the comments and let me know why. Okay, because I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't understand why you would do that. Then you're getting rid of Tortilla Joe's, which I don't eat Mexican food. Okay, the spices just disagree with me. But I had a friend zip in from Las Vegas, and she said, I'm going to eat at Tortilla Joe's. You want to join me? And I hadn't seen her in a while, and I really wanted to see her. So I said, I will join you. I just don't know if I can eat because spices don't work. Well, that restaurant, bless their hearts, they mixed up a special batch of carne for me, the beef, and didn't spice it. And they gave me guacamole, but they didn't put certain spices in it that I can't eat. They made it special for me right there. And I became a customer for every time. This is where my tribe met, because in Terry's tribe, we have all walks of life there, and not everybody can afford to go to these high-end restaurants, can we? Especially if we've just paid to go to Disneyland. You know, you got to save up for these tickets, don't you? Or win them, or be in the good graces of a cast member. But it's a bill. It's a few bills, isn't it? So it would be nice to have a restaurant close to the park, hello, where you can get something to eat for a good price. And because inside it's not that easy, is it? It's becoming harder and harder, isn't it? So you have an alternative. You can make a picnic lunch and eat it around the corner. That's still available to you, to pack a lunch and eat it outside of the park. I think during the pandemic, some people were able to eat their lunch inside the park, but I know that they won't let that stay. You won't be allowed to do that. You have to sneak it, sit in the back corner if you don't want to leave the park. But a lot of times, they want you to buy, of course, buy. So not necessarily able to do that. But I just think there needs to be a few more. Tortillas is not coming back. In fact, the last day is, what it was I told, March 28th is the last day Tortilla Joe's is going to be around. Correct me if I'm wrong. If you know that, please let me know when it closes. But it's a shame. And I could not eat everything. I could eat the tortilla chips, which were fresh and delicious. I could have a margarita. That is not bad for me. Other than it's alcoholic, which I love margaritas, and on the rocks. And I would eat like a taco. Like they would have the tacos and they would just fix them special for me. This is one of the things I loved about them. But I can't eat the beans. They don't agree with me. And I can't eat the rice because of the spices and all that. So it's just most Mexican foods I can't eat. Now, there are some authentic Mexican foods that, like my friends who are from Mexico who cook Mexican food, that is absolutely delicious. The Mexican chicken that my friend makes is always rich and delicious and tasty. And again, it's spiced in a way that doesn't affect my inner workings. So, but I was really grateful for Tortilla Joe's because it was a great place for my tribe to meet and not break their bank. They could have a little appetizer if their budget was small, or they could have a big, or they could have a decent meal because it still was affordable. So it's just a shame. I just want more affordable places. It's going to be kind of sad if we gather and we eat a pretzel, So there I am. I'm asking you, what do you think about the new Downtown Disney? It's still in development, of course, but I just found myself to be like, I'm so confused. So thought I'd make that the talk of the day today. Okay. All right. So let's hear what y'all have to say. Diane is in the house. Hi, Diane. Good morning, Terry and her fans. Tim Gillette. Hello, Tim. Dear Tim. Oh, dear Tim. Day before yesterday, you blessed me more than you'll ever know by being busy on Wednesday. I wanted so bad to be on the call, and I was going to try and come late just for a few minutes to thank Bonnie, who sent someone my way, and the young woman joined the tribe, which I'm very honored and excited that she did. But I was just so grateful you didn't have a call, because I was up to here and I kept trying to get up, but I was in a situation where I couldn't do it. So I'm so grateful to you. And next Wednesday, I hope that when you do have a call, I can join you. And I also am excited because we're down to an hour now, mostly, aren't we? So I'm excited. And what I'm talking about is Tim Gillette right here, who says hello, is my mentor in most all things social media. So when I first joined Tim, which has been a while, what has it been, Tim? 4 years. I didn't know even how to post. It might be more than 4 years, but the fact of the matter is he's the one that helped me to cross the threshold of being concerned on how to do this. And when I did it the first time, I did it wrong. So there you go. If you want to start a social media channel, just start it. Don't let the voice in your head tell you that there's a lot of people who are telling what you want to do are doing the same thing. Let's say you love Disney and you know there's like a million people that give their Disney recommendations, their opinions. Some are huge. Some are just starting, whatever, but nobody's got your opinion. And this is what Tim said, you just got to start. I knew nobody had my opinion. That was not the problem. Tim didn't have to rah-rah me. He just had to get me to realize that there were just a couple of steps I needed to know and then go. And it took me some time because technology is something that I am not as good with as I could be because I don't do that. I do it now somewhat. But I like to talk face to face, like for real to people. And that's my favorite way to talk, is to be there live and talking to you live. Zoom calls are nice, and they were great during the pandemic and during the lockdown. They were a survival tool that I will always be grateful for. And I'm also grateful because it allows me to talk to people that need my help or want to have a good message or whatever across the pond or up in Canada or in Australia or whatever, people who want to hear from me where I can't always be there. So social media has its place and I love it. But Tim is the one who helped me to cross over that threshold, which I just was so sure that there was no way I could learn it. And he helped me along with my husband, Lindsay. Lindsay put together a system that a 5-year-old can do. Remember, I said 5. So even though I did it wrong, and you could probably Google that video, or it might be in my playlist. So if you go to TERRI HARDIN on YouTube, you could probably look in the playlist. It might be there. Because people just love it. Love that I, fired up the camera and said, am I on? Somebody tell me if I'm on. Tell me if I'm live. Because I didn't know where to look. I just jumped. This is my MO, is I'm someone who just goes for it. When someone says, like Tim Gillette, he said, this is what you need. This is how you do it. Here's where you find it. So let's just use this for example. You want to go live on Facebook and you don't know how. You don't have any idea how social media works, or even how to get into Facebook or into anything like YouTube. How do I do it? How do I upload? How do I do this? And so he was the one who just took my hand and guided me through it. And I am forever grateful. Thank you to Tim Gillette. And if you're someone who now he does mentor you in this area, but he also builds your website. So you remember back in the day when people said to you, websites are unnecessary? They were wrong. They're 100% wrong, because there's people like me out there who are 66 and we won't go on social media. Okay, I do. Okay, because I had someone like Tim and my husband. But there's people who just flat won't go on social media, but they will go to a website. And I think I have to tell you, and you may just think I'm giving you a story, but I think if the website is a bit broken, the artist is really busy. So I've been speaking to Tim about, possibly, optimizing it so it looks cool, kind of is cool like me. Right now it's cool, but it's only kind of cool. It's not super cool like I think he could make it. So he designs websites now. So go to timgillette.com to learn more. And if it's a different, like Tim's main site takes you to the sites that you know what I mean. So that's why I'm saying timgillette.com. That's the easiest. But there's Simple Easy Marketing. There's all kinds of there's things which helps you with the Simple Easy Marketing is what helped me with my my social media platform, which is doing quite well. So if you're on YouTube and you're looking and you go, gosh, she has like 305 followers, or she has 2 followers and a cricket, it doesn't matter. Okay, because the way I am doing it is a different mindset, and that's where Tim teaches you that it may not be about 1 million followers. It may be about the quality of your followers. And I got some great ones. All y'all out here are really special. And you get me, or maybe you don't. You're just watching because you can't unwatch. Anyway, timgillette.com. Okay, there he is. Hello, Terry. I love it. I love it. Hi, Bob. Good morning, Terry, and happy Friday. Bob is part of the tribe, as is the amazing David Skipper. Tribe gives excellent vibes thanks to Terry's magic. David Skipper is an amazing author. Okay, he's a writer, and he turned me on to a series of books that I was surprised. Oh gosh, I was all prepped for this, David, and I put something really heavy. He writes for he does a lot of things for this book right here. This series called Walt's People. This is volume 26. But I'm still in the early volumes because, honestly, David, I just keep rereading the early volumes because I really like the early volumes of people who have passed that I never got to meet and hearing what they have to say. But I'll get into these as well. I kind of jump around like Crikey from Mulan. But anyway, he's got chapters in here, and almost, wouldn't you say, David, almost in every book? Or am I exaggerating? Anyway, this is great because they're edited by DDA Getz, and there's the king right there. Can you imagine 26 of these? I think there's actually 28 of them. I just happen to have 26 in my little paw. But what I was going to do here is I was going to show you that a lot of the chapters are short, like page 23 to 37. I mean, that's not really a long chapter. And they specialize in people who had a foot in the Disney magic, including me. And I'm going to be in one of these books coming soon. So but I had never heard of them, Walt's People, and I got really addicted to them. And A, short reading, and B, just really good stuff inside. So I highly recommend it. Check it out if you don't know about it. Post in the comments if you don't, and we'll and David and I will talk about it. But David is another authority on Disney, Walt Disney and Disney. So sometimes when he hears things or he speaks on a subject and someone disagrees, we will watch them get into a friendly debate. Okay, it's got to be friendly. We don't attack each other, but we do talk about the subject. So you're allowed to attack the subject. For example, live action Disney is a big subject with David and I. For me, I'm not a fan, and neither is David. I'm a fan of a couple, but I just don't like what Disney's doing with them or not doing with them. Most of them are not good. And if you love them, then you love them. And there's nothing wrong with you. It's just that you see something differently than we do. My point is, David is really very, very well-versed and has a lot of knowledge of Walt because he used to do a one-man show about Walt Disney. So, of course, there was study involved. So this is the kind of people that are in there. Now, if we pop back to the previous comment right here, Bob Lineweaver, rocket scientist. I'm not lying. Rocket scientist in Terry's tribe. Are you getting the picture? These two people that I've just shown you here, I did not lead with painter, illustrator, animator, did I? Rocket scientist, author, and Disney expert. Shall we say expert, David? So this is why Terry's tribe is so great. It's got a really great group of people, and they are so amazing. And we really help out. We can help out if you're trying to, let's say you've got a child and they want to do a study of Walt Disney. If you're in the tribe, you just put that question and everybody will participate. Even people who know or knew Walt, like standing right in front of you, Walt Disney, in the tribe. So highly recommend it. Susan Orkey says Porto's has potato balls for under $3 each. Cuban, what's a Sammy, and soup, or it does in Beach Boulevard location. And D, tin fung dumplings were a dozen in an order to share, $15 each. Well, that must be the reason then, Susan. Long waits. Let's see. You can share a few with rice. Long waits, going to be both places. Go to close other locations. Gonna miss Tortilla Joe's happy hour food. Yes, indeed. So Susan is saying that they do have some really good specials. So maybe that's the reason. And Susan, this is why I asked the question. So thank you for piping in and leaving your comment, because you're right. Now, the potato balls, I think, are ghastly, but there's a lot of people who really like them. But I have to use a caveat here. I'm not a big fan of eating just mashed potatoes wrapped in a dough anyway. I'm like, potatoes are not top of my list as a food group. So if you love potatoes like you love potatoes, those potato balls apparently to people who love potatoes are really good. It's just not my cup of tea. The dumplings have been usually pretty good. In my area, they're half full. And that just drives me crazy. You know, okay, it's a deal to share amongst people, but two to get one filling, that's not cool. So that's kind of what I'm talking about. But I appreciate it, because where you're talking about, maybe they don't do it because it's a franchise, isn't it? So some people are going to do it better. Like, for example, let's take the franchise of Baskin Robbins, a perfect example. If I go to a Baskin Robbins on Magnolia, I get some super scoops because a lot of new people are there, as well as the one on Cahuenga Boulevard. If I go to the one on Victory, it is the main place where the ice cream is made, so I'm going to get the freshest. It's going to be the freshest there, and it's a drive-through. Oh! We love our drive-through, don't we? So you kind of choose your Baskin Robbins accordingly. There was a Baskin Robbins where the person was really chintzy on the scoops, so we don't go there. Doesn't mean all Baskin Robbins are like that. That's what Susan is pointing out here. You know, it might be different from hers than the one at Disneyland, but we would hope they want to show a good face with Disneyland. So maybe at the Disneyland one, it'll be super fat dumplings where they're bursting at the seams, and there will be yummy potato balls with maybe something I would suggest called seasoning, and all kinds of cool stuff that could happen. So good for you, Susan. I can see you are an aficionado of it, but you're right. Always crowded and always busy. Joe says, hi, everyone. You probably already know what I think about Disney pursuing the wealth of the 1% and abandoning the 99% of us. They only want to make movies that make $1 billion in the box office within 3 days and have no interest in honoring Walt's legacy and philosophy. Yes, Joe is another one of our people that pipes in, and I really appreciate you, Joe, so much. But you know what? Do you think that it could be different now that Godzilla, -1 has popped up, $10,000, winning an Academy Award for effects? A great group of people that show you can do movies for 10,000. Not to mention that the speech at the Academy Award was, hey, rather than doing these $1 billion movies, how about doing a few $1 million movies or $5 million movies and giving the new filmmakers a chance? I really love that speech. That's like my favorite speech. I like that speech so much I can't remember the guy who gave it. But that speech was amazing. That speech was perfect. And I hope someone is listening, because you guys are out there. You creators and filmmakers are out there. You're doing great stuff. And I have to be honest, I'd rather watch your movies than most of the stuff that's coming out. I'd like you guys to get a chance. Okay? If my voice means anything, my voice to all the producers out there and all the creators out there who are looking for people to have a good movie that works, start looking at what's being followed and what's being like. Yeah, we know you're watching. So act on it now. Okay? Pull that last trigger and get up to these writers and say, hey, let's write, let's collaborate. Because let me tell you, I've done it, not in films. I have collaborated in some films, but mine has been as an Imagineer, and it's been magical. It'll make you cry how some of the things that were designed and developed, because I was with other Imagineers together who were the creme de la creme, and we would just create these magical worlds. And it was so fun. It's the closest to Harry Potter I've ever been. We didn't have wands and stuff, but our fingers and our brains and our pencils. We had magic pencils. We did. And we were under a magic umbrella called Walt Disney Imagineering. Yeah. And it is just, it continues for me to be a magical place. I am the come here, get away Imagineer. I'm an Imagineer who they bring on if they're behind in certain areas of their production. And I get them up to speed, and then they go, thanks, Terry. And I go, woo, yay, I'm back at home doing my thing. But it's the point. The point of the matter is that it's great. It's great. It's a great job. It's a great group of people. And if you can get these super egos to come together and make something magical, they leave the egos, at the door. They come in and we create really cool things. It's not about being the best. It's about getting together with the best and making something better. And if you're an artist, you understand. If you've ever collaborated with someone, it's beyond joy. It's beyond joy. It's beyond joy. In fact, my sister has a boyfriend, and he keeps saying, we need to collaborate on something. And I said, let me get through this first. But I would love to, because I think he's very clever. And I think he's mechanical too. And that's where I kind of fall short, is in the mechanical. And I've got some toy designs I'd love to do that need to be mechanized. So that's someone I'd love to collaborate, someone who builds toys. So yeah, so Joe is lovely, wonderful. You may have seen him when he announces he gets fired by Facebook occasionally, but he's a strong voice and one I really like. And one day, who knows? Says, at the rate of SpaceX Dragon Starship has succeeded, we will never get back to the moon. I know, honey, but we will. Did you see that they landed? What did they land on there? And they put that famous artist. Here it is. Because I get excited. This Jeff Koons had the phases of the moon on the moon. It got put on the moon. So, he's responsible for the balloon dog and all that stuff. Yeah, the highest paid artist living, highest paid living artist. So meaning he's still alive and he got paid a lot of money. So it's pretty exciting. He critics or blah blah blah. They just criticize him and everything. But what was I going to say? We know his everyday objects. So he did this phases of the moon thing that is on the moon right now. It was flown up in a ship and is on the moon. First artist on the moon. Not first artist artwork on the moon. What it must be like to have a piece of yours sell for 91 mil. I put him on my wall, and then I should probably paste over his face and change the name to TERRI HARDIN, 91 mil, affirming that will happen to me one day. Does it really have to happen? Nah. I've got a lot of magic happening in my life, which is exciting, but it would be cool. I mean, it's you'd be like, what? Who did I poke? But it would be nice. It'd be nice to speak with him and speak with Jeff and ask him what that's like. What does that feel like? But the one thing about you is you don't want somebody who's coming off arrogant. But I'd like to think with that smile that he's a kind and give back person. Don't know him, so I pray. That's me praying. My friend and I went to the Wonder of Alaska, compliments of her brother, on the Wonder. Okay, let me read that right. My friend and I went on the Wonder to Alaska, compliments of her brother. Just us, no kids. We were seated at meals with other adults. It was magical. The vacation of a lifetime. Alaska is gorgeous. When we went, most kids were still in school. You won't be sorry. I've been, and I love it. I was a guest, actually, on the Alaskan cruise where there were some children, and you know me, I love children. So it was great. It was really, really a great adventure, except that it was hot. And I was like, I don't want to be in Alaska when it's hot. Yeah, I think you were smarter to go in Maine because it needs to be cold. I go for the cold. I want to be cold in Alaska. That's why I like Alaska. But it was warm. We were at Skagway, whatever it is. And it was 80 degrees. And they said, thank you for bringing the warm weather. And I was like, Rrr. But yeah, I loved Alaska. The art and the lore, LORE, was really fun. Yeah, I had a great time. I loved it. The Penny Arcade isn't there anymore. Why? Yeah, no. We still have the lady that tells fortunes. She's still there. But you remember, Joe, that it was rows of those. Yeah, I'm afraid. They might have one in the corner. They used to, but I don't know if it's still there. Yep. Some of the stuff has changed greatly. Yes. Apparently now they're going to be expanding into Disneyland Hotel area and build Aviator Land there, which nobody asked for. Of course. But this is this is people keep saying, why is this not working? And it's because you're not asking. Why would you ask people, like, oh, I've said it before. Why don't you ask people who love Marvel what they want to see in a Marvel universe? People who love Star Wars, what we want to see in a Star Wars universe. People who love Disneyland, what they want to see at Disneyland. Okay. And a lot of times you can hit the trifecta and find someone who likes all three. Okay. I'm a twofer. I'm okay with Marvel, but I love Star Wars, adore Star Wars. I have a lot of Star Wars history. I'm known as the Queen of Star Wars. Another time, another story. If you haven't heard it before. But Disney. So I'm Star Wars and Disney. Marvel a little bit of seasoning with Marvel. But I'm not a big fan. My husband was, and like many of us, we were disheartened because Disney is really messing with those intellectual properties that they own now, but they're not doing them justice. And the reason they're not doing them justice is I think of them in a big office atop somewhere where there's no other people, and they just keep trying to come up with ideas. They sit with Iger and they go, how about, what if, what about, and instead of asking the people. As I've said before, Walt Disney had an advisory committee. They were people like you who would go down to the castle on certain occasions and have a meeting. When Walt was alive, I don't know if he was actually present at these meetings, but he was within hearing distance, and he had people listen, and then they brought it back to his desk. And that's why it was so magical in the days when Walt was alive. And up to and a little bit past the 50th anniversary, I'd say it was the same. Because the 50th anniversary at Disneyland was off the chain. It was amazing. And all of the things leading up to that were really amazing. By the time you got to the 60th, it became very meh, because a lot of the collectibles and things that you could get to celebrate the 60th were sort of garage sale. So like they went to China and they went to the garage sales and they grabbed stuff. They just were like plastic casings, and quality was really low. And even now, some of the things you see, or they're cup centric. They have way too many mugs, way too many. What's the other thing they have way too many of? Plush, but maybe not. Stephanie might tell me they don't have a lot of plush. Their plush is going down because she collects plush. But I'll tell you, way too many mugs. Way too many mugs. And the pins are getting oversaturated a bit, aren't they? Or did they pull back on those, you pin collectors? My point is that you don't need to oversaturate the market. You just need to give people what they want. And it will do something that you would love, Disney. It will sell out. I know this because I listened to many artists tell me that during the pandemic, art was dead. And that was not when my work was dead. I asked people what they wanted. I provided it, and I sold out in about a week. True story. And it wasn't an inexpensive thing. The item I'm talking about is my illuminating ghosts, and they went for $1,300 each set, and I only had 50, like that. Okay. But it's not because I'm magical. A part of it's because I'm magical. I mean, I got to take some credit, but the point is that I asked them, what do they want? And for 2 years, they kept saying this. I had to wait, because remember earlier in this broadcast, I told you that as an Imagineer, we are innovating. And I was innovating something, and I didn't, the stuff, the technology had to catch up with me. So I had to wait. I worked it and reworked it over the course of 2 years. And then when the pandemic came out, everything came together, oddly enough. Weird, huh? And I was able to distribute it. But that's what we do. And I have several projects here at my house that are a little ahead of the curve. I have to wait until something is developed, or think about doing it myself, which I haven't been able to currently maybe later, where it can get made. So with me, it's not so much when I'm storing something. You know how you're storing something and someone says, the thing that is the killer is I could need that someday. I'll save that because I might need it. That's the phrase that is like, makes you kind of be a pack rat. In my case, I have things that's a project that needs A, and it's not been developed yet, or not quite to my liking. B is another project that's in the works. C is a project. So most of them are projects that are in the works that have been stopped by a small wall. I call it a temporary wall until I'm able to get back to it and keep going. So not all my stuff is like that, but a lot of the stuff that I have up in my shelves is like that. Yeah, that's going to be for when that works and that works and that. Yeah. Yeah. If you're an artist like that, you can tell me about it. But that's kind of what my deal is. Or it's collectibles that have appreciated. Forgive me. This is why you don't do things live. Now you may wonder, listen to me. Now you may wonder why this is happening. It's still not there. If I had led with tea, I could have blamed the tea on causing this problem. I have to wait a minute. So I am on a blood pressure medicine, and I am one of the 2% or small percent of about 3 million people that is affected by this little pill. It's the size of my fingernail, and it sucks all of the moisture out of my mucous membranes, which means that when my throat suddenly becomes dry, that which you have observed has happened. So I am now lubricating it, and talking is kind of making it a little bit different. So there you go. So let's see what Mike has to say. He's asking me how I am. You saw, didn't you? My little choking fit. Sorry about that, guys. And you notice my voice is still trying to make a comeback. It really is annoying, but until my blood pressure doesn't have to be regulated by a tablet, and when is that ever going to be? I have to just work with this one little thing. And it can scare people because you're just coughing like crazy, and they think, what are you gonna? Did water go the wrong way? Except you're nowhere near water. It's just the nature of the pill. And I've asked doctors about it, and doctors say it's the nature of that hypertension medicine. So once I get off it, if I ever get off it, which, it's hereditary, guys. My family has had it since the slave days. I'm half black, and it came from my dad's side of the family, I guess, or something. So we've all had it, and it's all something. Not that I, went into life expecting to have high blood pressure, but when I did have it, it was like, okay, but that's like all I have. I don't have much else, knock on wood. So I'm very healthy except for that, so, be grateful, which I am. Thank you, Lord, for just giving me that, and I have this little quirk about it. I also have astigmatism, and my astigmatism isn't in my eyeball. It's in my lens, which is 1 in 2 million people. I just seem to be that lucky kid. But yes, Mike, I am good now that I can talk again. Sorry about that, everyone. Be right back, says Joe. Mike, hi, Terry. You look very nice today. Thank you for saying that while I was, choking. I'm not a huge fan of Portos, but my youngest daughter is a huge fan. She has it shipped to her Pittsburgh every month. I love you. You did a cliffhanger there. That was great. I didn't know you could have it shipped. That might be a benefit. You know, maybe you can order it and have it shipped to your hotel room. Do you think they might have a service like that at Disney? Now that's sounding cool. Bob, that sounds cool. Like if you're at the Disneyland hotel or you're at one of those surrounding hotels and you just, you're going to leave the park, so you throw in your order on your phone or whatever, and then it gets there and it's there waiting for you when you cross the street. That's cool. I wonder if they'll have that. Do you think ooh, that may be a good reason, to oh, that's a cool idea. Ooh, I'm liking that idea, Bob. I'm liking that. I miss the old downtown Disney. There was always affordable things to do, and now it's pretty boring. I hope the new downtown Disney won't be too expensive for families. I'm praying right with you, Yannette, but I don't know. Everybody is really excited. There's quite a few people excited about this really fancy, like, is it Asian fusion restaurant that apparently I've never heard of, but is really good food, but the bills are like, it's very expensive to go to. I'm going to save up and go to it because it's got the first word of my favorite food, SEA, food, or sushi, so, or sashimi. So those are my favorite words in the world as far as food. So if it's got that, I got to go. So I'll have to do it. I love to go, but it won't be a staple. They're never staples in your life, but one of the things that I know is if the person is bringing a family to Disney, they've had to save up. It's not something that they just go, let's go, unless they're friends with a cast member. And that doesn't always work now, does it? But the point is that for most people, you got to buy tickets for the family, as Yannette is pointing out here. And then you got to figure out everything: food, stay. Are you staying around or near the park? What food are you going to do? Are you going to go off campus? Which is easier nowadays because you have a reservation. That is the good news. Reservations are a drag. I understand that for a lot of people. But the good news is that a reservation reserves your spot. So if you want to go have a nap, take your kids to nearby Mimi's. Mimi's is pretty affordable and it's across the street. And to come out of the park, go to the left again, and Mimi's is right there. They're pretty affordable and usually very busy, but they're open from, like, what is it, guys? 9 in the morning, 8 in the morning until 1. So if you go in the off times, like 2, you can get seated really quickly and have pretty much the restaurant to yourself. It's very nice. If you go to early dinner and you want to eat at a place like Mimi's that's very busy, eat at 4 or 4:30 and then have a snack later. This is kind of the things that old people figure out. So there you go. Just a couple of ideas. Joe says, did you realize that since the Rocky Horror Picture Show was the 20... Okay, wait. I got to read this again, Joe. Forgive me. Did you realize that since the Rocky Horror Picture Show was a 20th Century Fox movie and now 20th is owned by Disney, this means that Frankenfurter is a Disney prince? I did not realize that, Joe. A lot of images come to mind right now. Oh gosh. Oh God. That's great, Joe. I'm going to sit on that one. I like that egg. Oh, that Frankenfurter as a Disney princess. What does that make Magenta, who's the one that I played? She's not really a villain. Would she be the villain? She was definitely the stinker. That means that I played a Disney villain. Ooh. Hey, Terry, I like the part when the game show host says we will have 3 new players next week in her country voice. 3 new players next week. Join us. I say, rather than a country voice, it's a deep, sultry voice. Dun, 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 dun. Next week on The Price is Right. Join us when 4 more lucky contestants get to try their odds against our price experts. Until then, see you later. Anyway, throat lozenges or hard candy or even a lollipop or Tootsie help keep your throat moist. It's not that kind of a deal. No, I wish it was. It's a anomaly. So no matter what you do, it will hit you when you least expect it, like in the middle of talking. I think, what's the saying? My husband has the saying. It ends in God laughs. So it's just he punks me once in a while. God punks me once in a while, just for fun. Just for fun. Yeah, just for fun. I had to do a double take just now. I thought you read, I'm no fan of pornos. I'm not. And on that note, we're done with our comments, and I'm going to scoot away. I am going to go see my mom at the convalescent hospital today. I have to say that as her daughter, last week I was not feeling well, so I did not go see her. So I'm sure she's wondering what happened to her eldest. And I have been so wrapped up in this stuff with my father's house that today is finally the day that I get to go see her, and I'll spend a couple of hours with her, and we'll have a nice visit because I miss her and I love sitting with her, and I'll bring her something yummy. I'm not sure what, but I'll come up with something fun. And yeah, so that's where I'm off to. I love you. Hugs, kisses. It's St. Patrick's Day on Sunday. I hope you have plans. Erin Gobra, yeah, to have a mint shake or a green beer. I don't drink beer, so I look at the beer. But I am thinking a corned beef sandwich is in my future with the Swiss cheese melting down and the rye bread. Ooh. The one-time seafood won't fit in the agenda, and I will work to wear green. I don't have a lot. Green is my favorite color. I keep saying that it's not, but it is. And I don't own a lot of green. It's not necessarily my favorite color to wear, but I like green. And so I realized that I have to wear something with green because I don't have anything that's like green. So I'm going to have to come up with something or pin Kermit the Frog to my chest. I was a Muppeteer, so that's okay, isn't it? Anyway, yeah. Anyway, I love you. Hugs, kisses. Say hi to Mom for us. You bet I will, Joe. You're so sweet to say that. Love you. I love you too, Connie. Thank you for listening and joining us. Hi to Mom and Lindsay. Have a great weekend, everyone. Hugs and kisses. And I will see you on Monday. Some of you I might see even a little earlier, but my Star Wars shirt might work. Yeah, Bob, you're so brilliant. I'm going to go get that now because that is mainly green. That is like mostly green and it's clean. So I'll put that on for Sunday. I love you, Bob. You're so smart. I love it. Also part of the tribe, Bob Berdeen. So teaches us about charity and goodwill and how we can make charities happy. Yeah, because they used to run them. Yeah, him and his wife, Rose. So love you. See you soon. Bob, you're a genius. I'll talk to you later. Do something nice for someone else, as Bob has just done for me, finding my Sunday shirt. And I will see you on Monday. Hugs, kisses. Love you lots. And be well, be safe. Bye for now.